Alright, and this is the drone that was at the bottom of the river. These brushless motors will actually run underwater, so I wasn't too concerned about them. I didn't think my ESCs, which are under here, would be okay, or my flight controller, my video transmitter, my camera. But it was only underwater for about 5 minutes. I put it outside in the sun for about 24 hours and then hung it in front of a fan for about a half a day and plugged the battery in, and it fired up. Everything worked. The only thing that I did lose in that process was my GoPro, which was the only thing that was supposed to have been waterproof. But I've had it for months and months, and it had slight damage to some certain parts, so maybe it had a leak in the seal. But anyway, yeah, everything still works except for that.
we're going to do a little bit of stick cam footage and flying around down here at the park since we got nobody around. And we'll get it right there. And hopefully you guys can kind of see the synchronizing between the controller and what's going on over here. Like I said, it's a very windy day, so we got to watch out. I can kind of feel when it's going to start. But we're just going to get it packing here. Oh, crashes and all, you know, because you gotta crash. But yeah. Yeah, these guys are fun outside, even though, I mean, they're made mainly for indoor quads, but it's pretty windless right now. If the wind picks up, you may see me getting pushed around quite a bit. But yeah, I love my little Mockingbird. It's got a very long flight time compared to some of the other tiny whoops that I've had. I just put the Beta FPV Mockingbird tune on the 65S that I have, and I really like it a lot more now too. But this is still smoother, cleaner. Oh, for a tiny whoop. These things are great because you can fly them straight into a pole, and no problem, still flying just great. I got these, man, I want to say they're HQ props, the super durable tiny whoop props, and they are awesome. I may have to correct myself on that. I don't know if they're HQ, but they're these super durable props. I'll look that up and put a little link down in the description for them. Because, man, I've had the same props on this little tiny whoop for months and months, and they just are still awesome. And, yeah, I come down here and fly with my 5-inch a lot, too, or sometimes here recently just because there's nobody around. But this is just as fun as the 5-inch, maybe more fun in a small area like this. And as you can see, they're pretty controllable. I think one thing people don't really understand, or maybe don't, just because they haven't tried it, is when you're flying these things, a lot of people expect, oh, big, you know, stick motions, and that it's going to just sit and hover, which it will to some degree. This one's better than most. It'll sit and hover if you take your fingers off the controls. But you see how it starts to drift. You're always in a state of correction, so it's almost like balancing a stick on the end of your finger, or a broomstick. You know how you have to make those minor adjustments at all points to keep it from falling, and occasionally you'll get a nice good balance, but it's always a corrective adjustment. I'm always pushing or pulling or just making tiny adjustments to get this thing to do what I want. And as you can see, even on these turns, these tight turns, I'm not making big drastic movements. You know, it's in angle mode also right now, which means that when I let off the controllers, it flattens out. So, yeah, it's not in full manual mode like my 5 inches. Whoa! But, man, yeah, it generally recovers from crashes very well. As you can see, I have a lot of crashes. I don't usually put those in my videos, you know, so that happens with my big quads a lot, too. Yeah, these are a lot of fun. As you can see, my flight time is pretty good on this. I don't know. I'll have to look at my footage afterwards and see how long I've been flying, but I'm still at 3.4 volts, so pretty rad. Oh, right through the tape. I wonder if these holes are small enough to go through. Or big enough to go through, I should say. Probably not. Anyway. Well, these tiny guys are super fun down here. And they recover from crashes pretty good. They'll take a lot of abuse. The weakest point on this quad right now is the frame. The Beta FPV frames are more traditional, kind of like the original Blade Inductrix, I think. I have trouble saying that word, obviously. It's a cheap old frame, but one of the original whoop designs, and a lot of people still use it. I know there's the Cockroach frame that is made by NewbieDrone FPV, which also makes this flight controller. I really like their stuff. The Cockroach frame is supposed to be a lot more durable, but I'd already purchased a lot of these 7mm motors, so I'm still running the older frame. But yeah, gaps all day long with these things. Oh. And just a good learning tool for a beginner. For sure, I highly recommend this NewbieDrone Silverware flight controller because there's no tuning involved, man. It's just plug and play. I feel like the motor's just plugged into the flight controller. The camera plugs in. It comes with the flight controller for the price. You really can't beat it. Anyway, I'm down. I'm gonna go flip that over and enjoy some more flight time.